April 1943. High above the skies of France, German aces laughed through their oxygen masks. Below them, a formation of hulking American fighters struggles to climb. Flying milk bottles, one German sneers. Yet within 18 months, that laughter will vanish, replaced by fear, as those same machines rain thousands around a .50 caliber fire across Europe. This is the story of how America's most mocked fighter became its deadliest. "27,000 feet above the French town of Conches, the morning sky is crystal clear. Sunlight glints off the silver wings of the Luftwaffe's Focke-Wulf 190s as they weave in tight formation. In one cockpit, Oberleutnant Ralph Hermican, a veteran with 26 victories to his name, spots unfamiliar shapes clawing slowly toward him. Through the curved glass canopy, he can't help but grin. "They've sent us flying milk bottles," he jokes over the radio. Below, 16 Republic P-47 Thunderbolts of the U.S. 4th Fighter Group labor upward, each aircraft heavy with fuel, ammunition, and the burden of first combat. To the seasoned German pilots used to sleek Spitfires and nimble Bf-109s, these Americans look absurd. Fat fuselages, tiny wings, propellers like dinner tables. What Hermican cannot yet know is that he's staring at the future, at the weapon that will, within 2 years, grind the Luftwaffe's fighter arm into dust. Three years earlier, in June 1940, news from Europe had sent shockwaves through Washington. France had fallen. The Luftwaffe ruled the skies. The U.S. Army Air Corps needed a fighter that could challenge German performance at high altitude, and they needed it fast. Republic Aviation's chief designer, Alexander Kartveli, received the order. Instead of a lightweight interceptor, he drew something radically different. A massive airframe wrapped around the most powerful engine America could build, Pratt & Whitney's R-2800 Double Wasp. When the prototype XP-47B first flew in May 1941, test crews stood speechless. Nearly 10,000 pounds empty, 65% heavier than its predecessor. A complicated turbo supercharger ran the length of the fuselage, giving the plane a swollen, almost pregnant profile. Pilots joked, "Does this thing actually fly?" It did, and at altitude, it flew like nothing else on Earth. The huge radial engine maintained full power even at 27,000 feet, where most fighters gasp for air. Kartveli called it a dinosaur with good proportions. History would prove him right. But in 1942, the men chosen to fly it didn't feel lucky. Major Hubert Zemke, commander of the 56th Fighter Group, despised the aircraft at first sight. During training in Connecticut, his unit lost 18 pilots and 41 aircraft in just 4 months. The Thunderbolt killed more Americans in training than Germans in combat that year. It ground looped on landing, torque rolled on takeoff, and dove so fast that pilots discovered a new and terrifying phenomenon, compressibility, when the controls froze as shockwaves formed on the wings. Yet for those who mastered it, the P-47 revealed a secret. Lieutenant Robert Johnson, an Oklahoma farm boy, remembered his first flight. It was like strapping yourself to a locomotive. You didn't fly it, you aimed it. The Thunderbolt was not elegant, but it was indestructible. By April 1943, American fighter groups in England were ready. 56 pilots climbed into their brand new Thunderbolts and crossed the Channel on their first mission over occupied Europe. The Germans were waiting. To them, the P-47 looked slow, overweight, and clumsy. In their first month, the Americans lost 14 Thunderbolts for only 3 confirmed kills. British observers watching from their Spitfires were unimpressed. The best evasive maneuver, one RAF pilot quipped, is to unstrap and run around the cockpit. German confidence soared. Jag Eschwader 28XS commander, Joseph Pips Priller, sent back a smug report. "It flies like a truck and turns like a freight train. The new American fighter is meat for the slaughter." But beneath the mockery, something remarkable was happening. something the Germans hadn't noticed yet. The Thunderbolts that did come home were riddled with holes, yet still flying. One aircraft limped back on May 4th with 21 cannon hits and over 100 machine gun strikes. A Spitfire or a Messerschmitt would have disintegrated. The P-47's thick radial engine and lack of vulnerable coolant systems shrugged it off. Engineers realized that Republic had built not a fighter, but a fortress with wings. And when that fortress managed to line up its guns, the result was devastating. 8 Browning .50 caliber machine guns firing 6,000 rounds per minute, enough to cut an enemy fighter in half in seconds. The convergent zone of their fire formed a 6-foot wide cone of destruction. Each Thunderbolt carried 3,400 rounds. That was over 30 seconds of sustained fire, an eternity in a dogfight. The laughter in German radio chatter would not last much longer. June 26, 1943. Second Lieutenant Robert S. Johnson of the 61st Fighter Squadron is returning from escort duty when 16 FW-190s pounce from above. In seconds, his Thunderbolt is ripped apart. Cannon shells tear through the fuselage. Hydraulic fluid sprays across the cockpit. The canopy shatters. Wounded and half-blinded by oil, Johnson tries to bail out, but the canopy track has been welded shut by shrapnel. He's trapped. At 27,000 feet, his engine sputters. The controls stiffen and flames lick through the panel. He pushes the stick forward, leveling out, desperate to limp home. The Thunderbolt, mortally wounded, refuses to die. Moments later, a lone German FW-190 slides in behind him. Its pilot opens fire, emptying his cannons, then his machine guns. Johnson braces as bullets hammer the fuselage. Hundreds of them. When the smoke clears, the German pulls alongside, staring in disbelief at the wreck still flying. The two men lock eyes through the canopies. The German shakes his head, salutes, and breaks away. Johnson's P-47 reaches England, barely holding together. Mechanics stop counting bullet holes at 200, yet the engine is still running. The Thunderbolt had endured the impossible. That day changed everything. News of Johnson's survival spreads like wildfire through Allied bases and through the Luftwaffe. Engineers examine the wreck and realize the P-47's true strength. It can take punishment no other aircraft on Earth could survive. The Americans adjust their tactics. Colonel Hubert Zemke drills a new mantra into his men. Don't turn with them. Don't climb with them at low altitude. Use your weight. Use your power. Use your guns. The Thunderbolt's mass, once seen as a curse, becomes its greatest weapon. In a dive, it's unstoppable. Faster than anything the Germans can fly. From 30,000 feet, AP-47 can reach 550 miles per hour. Captain Walker, Bud Mahurin, pioneers a new doctrine, boom and zoom. Thunderbolts climb high, roll inverted, and dive like hammers from heaven. At the bottom, 8 guns unleash their fury. Surviving Luftwaffe pilots call it the Wall of Lead. August 17, 1943. During the twin raids on Schweinfurt and Regensburg, the deepest American bomber missions yet, the Thunderbolt shows its true potential. Major David Schilling's 62nd Fighter Squadron spots a formation of twin-engine Messerschmitt 110s preparing to strike at the B-17s. Schilling and 3 wingmen die from 28,000 feet. German gunner Heinrichroth later recalls, "The American fighters came down like hammers from heaven. I saw my rounds hit one, but it didn't even flinch. Then it fired. The aircraft ahead of us simply came apart. Wings gone, tail gone, nothing left. In less than a minute, the P-47s annihilate 8 Me-110s. The Germans have never witnessed such concentrated firepower. Each Thunderbolt pours out 100 projectiles every second. Armor-piercing, incendiary, tracer, a storm of metal that leaves nothing standing. The flying milk bottle has become the Thunder itself." By autumn 1943, the Luftwaffe's aces begin to notice another horrifying truth. The higher they climb, the stronger the P-47 becomes. Its turbo-supercharged engine keeps full power above 30,000 feet, while German engines choke thin air. On October 8, 1943, ace Hans Philipp, 206 victories to his name, leads his unit against American bombers near Bremen. From above, Robert Johnson dives in, fires a 2-second burst, and Philipp's FW-190 explodes midair. The Luftwaffe is shaken. If even their best cannot survive, what hope do the rest have? That winter, German intelligence delivers a grim assessment to Hermann Göring. The American P-47 possesses superior altitude performance and structural strength. Its firepower renders conventional engagement unviable. The laughter is gone. In early 1944, the improved P-47D arrives in England with new Hamilton Standard paddle blade propeller, 13 feet of spinning steel that bites the air like a giant's oar. Suddenly, the Thunderbolt can climb with the best of them. German ace Heinz Nock writes in his diary after a February mission near Hanover, "We attacked expecting our usual advantage. They turned into us and climbed with us. One of ours was blown apart. These are not the same machines we laughed at last year." Even the sound changes, a deep, rolling thunder heard miles away. Ground troops name it Donnerschlag, thunderclap. The Jug is no longer a joke. It's a prophecy. By spring 1944, the Thunderbolt's transformation is complete. New external fuel tanks push its range past 1,000 miles. Bomber crews cheer when they see its unmistakable silhouette above them. But its most terrifying role, that of low-level ground attack destroyer, still lies ahead. For now, the Germans whisper about the heavy American fighter that dives faster than sound and survives the impossible. The sky that once belonged to them is slipping away. And soon, over Normandy, the roar of the Thunderbolt will become the soundtrack of doom. The Jug comes down to earth. From the beaches of Normandy to the heart of Germany, the P-47 will turn the Luftwaffe's nightmare into the Wehrmacht's as its 8 guns thunder across Europe. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing for Part 2, Unbreakable, Robert Johnson and the Day the Thunderbolt Refused to Die. Your support keeps these true stories of courage and engineering alive.